So let me ask if this resonates with you. You've got traffic coming to your landing page. People are clicking on your ads. They land on the page. They scroll through it and then they leave. No sign up, nada. Now you're probably thinking, what's wrong with my ad? Is the targeting off? Do I need some new creatives? Well, here's the thing, right? 9 times out of 10, when I look at the new client's funnel, the ad is actually okay. The offer is fine. The problem is the landing page itself. Not the design or the colors, but the message and the psychological sequence or the order in which you're presenting information. And most businesses write it backwards. So in this video, I'm going to show you the formula that we use to write webinar registration pages for our clients at Radical Marketing. I'm talking about the same approach behind over 2 million event signups. I'm also going to review our 3-layer headline stack. And by the end of this video, you know exactly how to use it. All right, so let's start with the root cause, because once you see this, you can't unsee it. See, most coaches write the registration pages in a very logical order. They start by naming what the webinar is about, and then they explain the solution and how it works. Then they list all the benefits of attending. Then somewhere near the bottom, they kind of mention who this is for. See, that makes total sense to the person writing the page, because they really care about the offer and the webinar, and they know why it matters. But the person landing the page, he or she doesn't care yet. And here's the thing, right? Most people don't make decisions logically and then justify them emotionally. It's the other way around. They feel something first, then the brain finds the reason to act. So if your page is leading with the solution before you show that you understand them, before you trigger an emotion, if you're explaining how before why they should care about the topic, it's like proposing marriage before saying hello. Yeah, you got the ring, but the timing is way off. And the result is that people read the page, they nod, and then they close the tab. Not because your webinar topic's bad, but it's because the psychological sequence is wrong. Good news for you is this. This is a fixable problem, and it doesn't require redesigning anything. It's a copy problem. And here's the headline formula that fixes it. So this formula has 3 layers. Each one does a very specific job. Layer 1 is the pre-headline. This is the shortest line on the page. One sentence that does some heavy lifting. Its job? To make the right person feel seen before they've read a single word of your main headline. It names the avatar, who this is for, and it names the pain, like what's going wrong for them right now. Something like, for founders who want to work less hours each week. The right person will read that and think, yeah, that's me. I'm working way too many hours. And now you've got their attention. Now, the second thing is the main headline. This is where most coaches lose people, because this is where you need maximum emotional pull. And most people just write down the name of the webinar, pretending someone will care. Your webinar headline does 2 things at the same time. It shows what's possible, the ultimate benefit, and then it names what's been blocking them from getting there, the challenges they've already tried to overcome. I call this the polarity effect, because you have desire and validated frustration in the same line. Here's an example. How to have a self-managing business that scales without hiring an expensive COO and documenting every little thing. See what's happening there? A self-managing business is the desire for most founders, including myself. Without an expensive COO and documenting everything, those are the challenges that you will show them how to overcome. Because if you're a business owner like me, you probably hate documenting things and factors. We've tried all that before. Processes and checklists, just sitting in a folder somewhere on your collecting digital dust, and it's frustrating. So when you put desire and the overcoming of frustration together in one line, the reader feels seen and excited at the same time. And that's when they're ready to hear the how. Because here's the thing, right? You don't earn the right to talk about how something works until they care about what it delivers. And that's the whole game. And that's where the extended headline comes into play. Now that there's emotional commitment, logic finally gets to show up. This is where you name your unique solution and the tangible benefits. So something like, in this free training, discover my 3-step Grow OS system powered by AI that clones your decision-making process. So you've got the solution, and you've got the specific tangible benefits of the solution. Notice the sequence across all three layers. Start with emotion first, like pain, then logic last. Your pre-headline makes them feel seen. The main headline creates that pull. And finally, your extended headline teases them with a solution by naming a mechanism that is different to everybody else out there. That's the three-layer headline stack. When you get this right, the rest of the page gets a lot easier to write. In fact, half the battle is already won. So let's talk about the bullet section, because this is where a lot of coaches, well, they give away too much. Most bullet points I see are way too generous. They explain exactly how the solution works. And what happens? Well, the person reads them, they feel like they got the gist, and clicks away without registering because they think, oh, I already know that. Here's the thing, your bullets don't close the sale, your webinar does. The bullets' only job is to make the person think, I need to be on this call. Lead with what they'll get. Add something that makes it surprising or achievable. Tease the mechanism name at the end without explaining exactly how it works. So let me give you a weak bullet point example. Learn how to use email follow-up sequences to recover no-shows after your webinar. Well, in this bullet example, you just explain the solution. They're just gonna go and ask ChatGPT, write me an email follow-up sequence to recover no-shows for my webinar. And well, you just given them a reason not to attend. Contrast this with a strong bullet. How to generate sales from people who miss your webinar using the 3-step long-tail follow-up system. The outcome here is clear and the mechanism is named, but the how, well, that's safe for the webinar. And one more thing, the intro line before your bullets matter more than most people realize. We usually use, at this webinar, you discover, in that kind of exact phrasing. Not what you learn, not topics covered. It frames what follows in the bullet points as insider knowledge, not a table of contents. If someone can read the bullet and think, I got it, I'll do that myself, you've handed them a reason not to register. The bullet creates the itch. The webinar scratches it. Okay, now what do we put after the bullet points? So often we put this, what we call the 3 supporting elements. Because now you've got the headline stack, you've got the bullets. Now, let me give you 3 elements that most coaches either skip or get wrong. First is social proof. So where you put it and what kind of social proof you use actually matters. Numbers and specific results that outperform vague testimonials every time. Like 326% more conversions from one headline change says more than this training changed my business. Specific beats general every single time. But just a word of caution, and this is super annoying, when you are using financial figures, the ad platforms may deem that as not compliant. So just make sure you are not making financial promises. Now, secondly is urgency. This is a simple element. Maybe use a countdown timer to the next event, and that's it. That's real urgency. That's a real deadline. There is the next event. The date is fixed. Show the clock counting down. You don't need any manufactured scarcity or fake tricks. Just tell the truth. So the third thing is the bio, because people really want to know who they're listening to. And this is where I see many businesses go wrong almost as much as the headline itself, because most bios read like a LinkedIn profile. You've got certifications, media features, and years of experience. Guess what? People don't give 2 hoots about that. And none of it answers the one question that the reader is actually asking. And that's, why should I trust this person to solve my specific problem? So let me give you a weak bio example. Sarah Johnson is a certified life coach with 15 years of experience. She has a master's in psychology and has been featured in Forbes. She works with executives, entrepreneurs, and high performers. Well, that's great. That tells me what she is, but it doesn't tell me that she understands what I'm dealing with. A stronger bio might be, Sarah spent 8 years watching high-performance burnout and 3 more years figuring out why the standard advice wasn't working. What she found became the framework behind this training. She has since helped 400 plus founders reclaim 10 hours or more per week without sacrificing results. See the difference? She opens from frustration with the problem. She shows she has been in the trenches with it. And she closes with a specific proof point that answers, has this worked for people like me? That's a bio that earns trust instead of just listing credentials for the ego or whatever. All right, so let me show you what all this looks like in practice. So let me show you a page where we use this headline formula And please note that we did not follow the formula verbatim, and yet we got way better results than the previous page that we used. We actually increased conversion rates by 50% from around 14-15% to 23% on the landing page from cold traffic. Okay, so here is where we have basically call out to the avatar, managers, and executives who want to speak clearly with confidence and clarity. Now, here we actually spoke to their desire. We cannot exactly speak directly to the pain by naming something like, for executives and managers who speak terribly and sound horrible in public and no one takes notice, because Meta is going to penalize us for that and could ban our ad if we said that. So we just have to kind of flip it a little bit, because people who have that pain will desire to have confidence, clarity. I hope that makes sense. Now, the next thing here is I did not actually follow the formula exactly, right? Because we're saying the solution here, which helps CEOs command instant respect in any situation, which is a benefit. So this, I would say, would actually be better as an extended headline, because that's where we talk about the solution. This should have been the main headline. Make every word land with impact and getting team and stakeholders to actually listen. That should be the main headline. Now, the good thing about it is, despite the fact that we flipped it around, it still worked tremendously, right? So I know I'm giving you a formula and I know it works from a psychological perspective, but sometimes you don't have to follow it verbatim. As long as you have the elements in place, it will work pretty well. So, you don't have to follow it like very structurally, is the point I'm trying to make by giving you this example. And one thing, if you had paid attention to the rest of the video, that we did not include in this is we did not include the challenges, right? So, for example, we could have done better, like say after this main headline, if I were to redo it, and get your team to actually listen, even if you don't sound like Morgan Freeman, and without actually raising your voice to get people's attention, right? So something like that, where it's a common belief that people need to have something or they need to do a certain thing, that is what we should have included in this headline as well. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, and I hope this was useful by actually viewing it visually about the elements that you should be including in your headline. So there you have it, guys. The 3-layer headline stack, the bullet formula, and the 3 supporting elements that separate the page that just looks fine but nobody signs up for from one that actually converts. And here's what's really cool. Most of the time, the fix doesn't require a full design. It's just the copy sequence. If you change the order and get the headline layers right, the page starts working immediately. If you want to zoom out and see how this page slots into your entire webinar ecosystem from the initial ads to the back-end follow-up, then check out this video below where I show you how to create a winning webinar funnel, step-by-step guide for high-ticket coaches. If you found this useful, please subscribe to the channel. It really does help more people find this content, and it's good karma. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.